Cody, we had an announcement by the Las Vegas Raiders earlier this week. I believe it was Monday. It was Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
It was Tuesday. We hired a defensive coordinator. We hired Gus Bradley. So, Cody, Gus Bradley was the defensive coordinator for the Chargers last year, for the last 3 years. He did a really good job. He got some good players. There's no question there. He used to be the head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars. He was a defensive coach. I believe he was the secondary coach for the Seattle Seahawks when Legion of Boom was there. So he's had some success defensively. Obviously, when he was in Jacksonville, that was when the Jaguars were at the top of their defensive prowl.
Mm-hmm.
And then he got fired and went to the Chargers, and they had a really good defense. Unfortunately, the last 2 years, they've had a lot of issues injury-wise. So we hired Gus Bradley as our defensive coordinator. Cody, how do you feel about it? And, how do you feel about
it? We'll see how it goes. I mean, one of the things that I'm concerned with is I'm hoping that we're not hiring Gus Bradley because of his, I imagine it is because of previous defense experience, but I hope we're not hanging our hat on like what he did in Seattle, which was, nearly 10 years ago. I mean, I think we tried doing that with one of our previous defensive coordinators, who was or actually, I think it's the current defensive coordinator for the Seahawks now. I'm forgetting his name. I think it's something Norton, Greg Norton.
Ken Norton.
Yeah. So when we hired him right after Seattle, we thought it'd be great. Yeah, and our defense was okay, but we still had the same problem: secondary linebacker issues, and the same thing here. I'm curious to see what Gus Bradley does. One of the things that he did really well with is coaching up the secondary and the linebacking area of the Chargers, because their linebackers were always really stout and their cornerbacks were always something that gave us problems. I mean, other than this season, I think it was a wash just because of, it was a wasted year essentially. But we'll see. I mean, honestly, at this point, I'm curious to see what we do in terms of who we sign, who we draft, how we get them on the field, and how well they're coached up, how well that they're prepared, because it can't be any worse than Paul Gunther is what I'll say. Knock on wood. But what I'd rather have seen maybe us go after, which I know is going to be impossible, but Raheem Morris from Atlanta, I'd really love to see us go after him. I wouldn't even have been upset if we tried going after. There was another coach that recently got let go. I can't remember his name right now. But anyways, my point being is I'm just hoping that our defense looks better prepared. I hope that our team is actually willing to stand up and goal line defense. And when we have our secondary, I think that's one of my concerns. And one of the things I was really upset with John Gruden is that we got this far with Paul Gunther that we didn't make a change almost sooner.
Yeah.
And, I think there's reports that came out, and I think you told me about this, that Rob Marinelli's got to stay on the coaching staff, which is good. My only concern is Rob Marinelli, had the last 3 weeks with the defense and it seemed worse. And it could be because of injuries late in the season, so really not playing for too much. But, at one point in the season, we were, fighting for second place in our division to almost, potentially maybe taking over first place in our division if we would have beaten the Chiefs. And then, I don't know, ever since that game, we just fell off. We almost lost to the Jets, and we lost very easily winnable games, one of them against the Falcons, which we got shellacked. Mm-hmm. So I'm just wanting to see what Gus Bradley brings. I mean, his head coaching record isn't the greatest. He did decent in LA with the Chargers. So I just want to see the defense improve. It doesn't seem like it's gotten any better for the last 5 years. So at this point, he's another name. And in my opinion, if it doesn't get any better after the season, I think we start looking for a new head coach, because it doesn't get any better. I mean, if we're going to keep putting all these defensive players in, but it ain't working, maybe we need to just change the whole thing out. Because I feel like we're about 2 seasons away from blowing the whole thing up. That's what it's feeling like. I feel like that's where the pressure is mounting towards, okay, we got this offense, we got this new city, this coach has a bunch of money given to him, meaning Gruden, and now we're signing these hopefully defensive experts in Gus Bradley. And I feel like there's a pressure point coming up to where in a season or two, if we're still a 500 team or missing the playoffs late in the season because, we can't win, I feel like we're about to see a reboot. So,
man, hell of a statement, man. I agree with you. I like, first of all, I like the signing with Gus Bradley. I like him a lot. I've liked him since Jacksonville. I really have.
mm-hmm.
With Jacksonville, it wasn't, that his defense wasn't good. His offense wasn't very good. I mean, him as a head coach overall was not a good head coach. But as a defensive guy, we've seen, and I believe he worked with Gruden in Tampa. I think he had a stint in Tampa where he worked with Gruden, and that's why Bradley is the signing. And obviously Gruden worked with Raheem Morris, but I don't think they are 100% sure Raheem Morris is going to be available. So that was kind of my thought, but I'm with you. I would have rather have Raheem Morris.
Mm-hmm.
He's had more success lately. Now with Gus Bradley, I've liked his defense with Los Angeles Chargers. I thought his defense was really good, but the key thing here is he also got the players that it worked out.
Right.
Same with Jacksonville. He had the players. A lot of people are saying, well, he was the guy who started Legion of Boom. He had the idea. Okay, you can have the idea, but you also have to have the players. And right now, our best safety was Jeff Heath, and he didn't see the field that much.
Mm-hmm.
Our best corner, Trayvon Mullen, had a couple of games where he just looked lost.
Yeah.
And then we have, Max Crosby, he's good. He's not great. And he works, but he needs some help. And we don't have help. I expect Corey Littleton to have a better year this year.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of people are saying he's a bust. I'm actually not ready to say that because actually towards the end of the year, he looked a lot better.
Yeah.
He looked like he was finally getting back to where he was. And I don't know what happened there, but it could have been many factors. Maybe he didn't respect Paul Gunther. I don't know.
Yeah.
Nick Kwiatkowski, I really liked him. If he can stay healthy. Nick Morrow had a really good year this year. That was really surprising. We traded for Raekwon McMillan, thought we were going to start him. He got hurt, and Morrow came in, and he did nothing but hold that job. I mean, he did a great job. So, we have potential. But I will say this: Rob Marinelli, he's going to stay on, and I like it. And here's the thing: you're right. The defense looked like it got worse, but I think towards the end they were just like, "We're done." I mean, it was a little hope left, and I think, maybe the Falcons game is what did it. I mean, that's what pops in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they lost a lot of confidence after that game. But Rob Marinelli, he was originally the defensive line coach,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like the defensive line was better. We actually stopped the run a lot better than we normally did. Now, obviously, again, in the Colts game, we didn't do such a good job there, but we also didn't do great rushing the passer.
Mm-hmm.
We just got, in your words, shellacked up front. But overall, Rob Marinelli did a lot better of a job. Farrell looked better.
Mm-hmm.
Cleveland Farrell, our number 4 overall in a couple of drafts ago, he was considered a bust last year. They were like, "Oh man, we need to get rid of Farrell."
Mm-hmm.
And this year he came back. He was motivated. He looked a lot better. Was he great? No. Well, I wouldn't say he was good. I think he was okay. Obviously we still need someone. And this brings me to my point.